Welcome to the US Open 2018. We're here at the YCC Under 20 Mixed Division. We have the Sabers from Columbus, Ohio, going up against Rising Tide out of Portland, Maine. Liam Grant alongside Sarah Lord for this one. Really exciting to see these two teams go at it. Have you ever got to watch any YCC Mixed Division games before, Sarah?
I watched a fair amount of YCC Mixed last year. So far this year, I've only gotten to watch the YCC Girls Division. The DC Rogue won their first game. They were a big storyline last year,
nice.
so we're excited for them.
Yeah, for me, this is kind of a new, unusual experience. I guess in Europe, a lot of the junior divisions tend to be single gender, but I actually think it's great to have the mixed division as well. And these are two top teams. This is Sabres' first year as a team at the YCC event, while this is the sixth trip for Rising Tide out of Portland. And it looks like Portland will be starting on offense. Grinding up a nice open side under. Now the big shot comes straight away to an open receiver. That one catching the wind, but well backed up by the Rising Tide player, but can't jam it in. Some good offense there going upwind from the Portland team.
Yeah, there's a lot of power to get behind on an upwind throw in this kind of scenario.
We've seen it's turned into a hooking game pretty fast. Maybe just going for field position there.
Yeah, everyone always talks about how hard it is to huck upwind because the wind's in the way, but downwind is almost harder because the disc is going so fast it's hard to catch your receiver where they can actually get to it.
Yeah, you need to put a high lofty disc with a lot of touch. Try to keep it rotating slowly and not run away from your receiver. So Lily had another shot of this. Tide going upwind. I think this could end up being an upwind down game, so getting offense to start, but getting the harder end zone to start in. Now the shake it. Ben Jewett shoots one to the end zone. Two great hooks now. Great pop pass and a goal. Rising Tide hold their offense.
Yeah.
That is the number 83 shirt with the goal. Not rostered on our roster sheet here, but made two amazing grabs already after backing up that earlier hook and now getting the goal.
Yeah, and it's just amazing to me how earlier today in the elite adult division, people were struggling to throw in this direction, and that's two great upwind hucks. For those of you at home, I think it's about 10, 15 miles an hour in the upwind direction for Rising Tide who just scored there. So that's some pretty amazing offense, I would say, for any level, but particularly for people under the age of 20.
Hey, Tide, what's the name of 83 who just scored?
Sarah Nupp.
And we're just getting the name of the player who just scored. That was Sarah Nupp there on the goal for Rising Tide. Looks like she'll be a pretty big cutter for them, so glad we found out who that was.
Yeah, rostered as the number 10 shirt, but actually wearing 83. Maybe some mind games going on there. Trying to keep people on their toes, but yeah, she's made her name for herself already in the first point. And yeah, the 5'3", 18-year-old coming down with the goal.
And this is a big opportunity for Rising Tide. These downwind D points are really what you want in this game. You can get a huge pull. You can really have a good chance to convert this double break. Well,
looks like that one just landed inbounds and rolls at the back, so will be brought to the front of the end zone. And you always feel when a game starts like this with the D-lines going downwind, someone's going to break early on. And that could be a big moment in the game. Rising Tide doing well to score upwind on their first point. Now it's the Sabres' turn. Setting up in a horizontal stack. Two poaches in the lane. They get it off to Ben Kelly, coming in at 6'4". And there's a turnover. Will give Tide the opportunity going downwind. Confusion as to who's going to pick it up. And they're playing with just one-hander back. Now someone coming into the reset position. And a quick turnover gives it back to the Sabres. Wind picking up again. Trying to grind out their unders, but now sending it deep, hoping the wind might hold this one up, but unfortunately does not.
Yeah, in that scenario there, the Sabers player ran up to pick up the disc immediately, and then the stall got high and they had to kind of just put something up in the wind. I'd like to see them maybe take a little bit more time and get their offense set up next time.
Carter Lawless gets the reset. Another little reset pop pass. Not able to move it downfield just yet. And that is Pastons in the reset position as well. Now back with Lawless. To Colmore. A lot of safe resets coming from this Rising Tide team. Happy to keep possession in the win. Now they're gaining some momentum field. Shoots the end zone. Oh, big laser lefty flick. Caught with a trailing edge layout. Fantastic grab. First break of the game. Jack Gustafsson with a fantastic catch.
And what I think was really amazing about that point is typically when you're going downwind, you have your D-line out there. There's this urge to just shoot deep immediately. And I mean, the field position is great, but that was a remarkable amount of patience displayed there to be able to say, we trust our throws, we trust our players, we can just work this downwind and keep possession the whole way through.
Yeah, and Jack Gustafsson, 16 years old, which is amazing. And this is one of the few teams I see in the under-20s division having some younger teenagers. I know I covered a Boston Boot game earlier, and they kind of had, everyone was kind of 18, 17, 18 years old, but there's a couple of 15-year-olds on this roster for Rising Tide and are well able to hang with the older players. I know one player, Isla Gunter, who was supposedly amazing and made this under-20 team, but actually dropped into the under-17s division this time. I'm sure she's going to be a force to reckon with there.
Absolutely. But Rising Tide does have a bit of an advantage as far as experience is concerned. You mentioned earlier the 6 years versus only 1 year for the Sabers. So this is their first time on this big stage, and it'll be interesting to see. They've now gotten broken once already, and we'll see how mentally they are able to come back from this and stay in the game as a relatively new team.
Rising Tide being coached by Andrew Applegate, Kate Patterson, Tom Stoughton, Emilia Shoemaker, Ben Fields. That's a lot of coaches. That's a lot of coaches for one team. Got to talk to Kate Patterson before the game. Actually, no, her husband Chuck, who's here doing some video work. Actually filming this game as well from the far end zone. That's part of, I think, a package that the team has booked to remember these moments. Now Sabres going down with an offense. A lot more room to wiggle. Ethan Wright with a nice swing, a little trip step, but manages to hold it under pressure. Avery Gleason. But now they turn over. You can hear the Rising Tide staff telling them to relax, chill. This is an opportunity for 3 breaks in a row. Oh, a little scuba upline shot. Not exactly the pass you go for in the reset, but I like the creativity. It's going to work out. This one, skyballed and collected by Kopacek. Kopacek's gone deep now. Great give, then gone straight to the end zone. Catches out the defender. That is the first point for Sabres.
That was a really great downwind throw there. They did a good job of getting it nice and high, waiting a little bit longer to make sure the receiver could get there. You could see Gleason looked for a second, thought about it, decided, you know what, I am downwind, I need to wait and throw high, and then the throw was just perfectly in stride.
Oh, and a lot of turnovers in succession there, but looks like a foul is going to be called. Definitely some contact there. Looks like it's going to be uncontested.
So and in the youth division here, there are no observers like there traditionally are in the adult divisions. There's just one observer who's there, whose job it is to only clarify rules, take account of time between possessions and look at offsides, which is different than the adult game where the observers can, in the U.S. at least, I know with diff rules, game advisors are much less involved, but here for USAU, observers have a fair amount of authority to make final rulings when come to. However, in the youth division, there's the thought that they want people to learn how to talk out their problems and not just let people go to the observer. I don't know what your thoughts are on this coming from
Yeah, it makes sense
Europe.
because when we all become adults, we all become reckless and can no longer come to conflict resolution by ourselves. So we let the kids do it. You know, they're clearly better at this than we are at sorting out arguments. Adults, on the other hand, definitely need the binding decisions of observers. Nah, I'm just joking, but yeah, I guess essentially you could say that she is a game advisor.
Yeah.
In this, or at least acting like one. We're seeing a game of some kind of group rock paper scissors. This is really cool as a little timeout showpiece.
This is it sounds like they might not do this in Europe, but I've played this many a time in between games. If you lose on both hands, you're out. Is the way this game typically works.
We don't get a winner. Hopefully, we have to carry on that important game at the next timeout. We're back into the slightly more important game of the YCC Under-20 Mixed Division. Liam Grant alongside Sarah Lord. Sarah, how are your games going today?
Pretty well. We had a really gritty game against Nemesis this morning that we were able to pull out a pretty close game, and then we had pretty much essentially a quarterfinal against Ozone. So we won that 12-8, I believe, and now we're going on to semis. I played for Scandal. I should have prefaced with that for how the games went. So
I think a lot of people would know, and that's Barham with the goal here for Rising Tide, getting another break, extending the lead to 2. Yeah, and essentially a quarterfinal because there ain't no quarterfinals at this tournament. It's pretty cutthroat. If you could end up in a 3-way tie situation, only losing one game and not making it to bracket play. That's the kind of tough competition you'll find here at the US Open.
Yeah, the club division has only the top 2 pool finishers make semis. The youth division is slightly more forgiving though. I believe they're pre-quarters. They're definitely quarterfinals for this division. So they get a couple more chances to make sure they get to punch their ticket in.
And who you play in your semifinal?
We play against San Francisco Fury, who's won nationals last year, but had a admittedly, I would say, disappointing Worlds. They would probably say, losing in quarters to Brute Squad. So I'm sure they're looking to prove something with their new addition of Sarah Griffith as well.
Yeah, could be one of the few people to win a couple of divisions, Worlds, and maybe women's, who knows, but
yeah,
crossing over from one top team to another, definitely a difference maker.
Yeah.
Fantastic on that Riot D-line.
Absolutely. I tell anyone who wants to learn how to play defense to watch Surge.
And maybe something that Emily Posey looks up to. She takes the pull there. The 15-year-old on this mixed roster. Going for height. One of the best hang times I've actually seen all week, but maybe should hope for a bit more field position considering how far she threw that up in the air. And it looks like another kind of junky
huge
look.
layout D.
A massive layout D, gone straight to the end zone as well. And there is Posey setting the hook, maybe a little trigger happy. Wanted to get the bookends for a teammate.
Probably also a throw that maybe if it wasn't going upwind would have carried enough over everyone else to get to him.
Kopacek really wanted to get that hook off, waiting for the opportunity to come. Now has to take it in the front of the end zone. Ben Kelly, one of the 2 twins mentioned before, pops one in for the assist.
To his brother, Jake Kelly.
Aw, bit of brotherly love there.
Yeah, good twin-to-twin connection. They knew what was coming there. But that was, again, a really impressive job of waiting a while to throw that flick hook, right? You could tell he wanted it for quite some time, but he did a good job of waiting. Okay, now my receiver can get to a hook, and now I'm going to throw it. It's just a remarkable amount of composure we've seen all game, I think, with waiting for hucks in this downwind direction.
And could be making their names for themselves as a famous twins in Ultimate. A few out there. You have the Cardenas sisters.
Yeah, arguably the most famous twins, I would say, in Ultimate.
Still waiting on the famous triplets to make their appearance. Maybe an old quadruplet here or there.
But there's some pretty good sibling pairs as well, with Leela and Dylan Tennell are very elite players as well. George and John Stubbs are playing together on Revolver, and Sarah Stubbs plays for Ozone. So that's a pretty good three-peat of siblings all playing Elite Club.
I've seen a lot of Lauries as well. All seem to be sporting the number 42. Do you know any of the...
Oh, yeah.
These Lisi Laurie, Ben Laurie.
Oh, yeah. Ben Laurie. And there's another Will Laurie, who plays for Oregon. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
All three of them.
I'm always not sure when I see a Laurie if it's one of the siblings, but I see the number 42. They all seem to wear the number 42, so that's a giveaway that it is one of the siblings. Not sure what they wear if they're on the same team.
I'll have to put them on one team and see what happens.
I think one should wear 4, the other should wear 2, and no one should wear the 42 in that given scenario. That's my my insight there. Sabers hold to bring it to 4-3 now. Offside being called. And again, there is no observer on the field, just fake observer, pseudo observer. So it's up to the players on the field to call offside. I know it's something you want to do pretty much straight away. It seemed quite a late call or offside. At least it wasn't relayed quickly enough to the opposition.
Especially as the defense, you sprint 50 yards downfield and then are not sure what's happening next. But yeah, I believe with this advisor type system, the observer can call offsides, but the offense can decide whether or not they want to uphold the offsides, which I believe is the same for WIFDF rules.
Yeah, and I kind of prefer that system in the case where sometimes it could be a very bad pull, as we saw in an earlier game. Offside was called and he just got a free go, essentially. Now you can't get many free goals as soon as you start getting penalized for it, but I think I like when the opposition gets to pick whether they want the offside or not. Oh, and a Mac disc is cleaned up, back in possession. Another big hook going up. This one downwind, will it float enough? Looks like it's going to. Oh, that was on the money,
wow.
Full field. Looks like we could have an injury or maybe a call further up the field. But Tide are celebrating this one. There's still a player on the ground, maybe got caught by the follow through as we see that one. That is the back of the hand to the face. That one's got to hurt. Right in the money maker.
Yeah, and number 14, Calvin Stoughton, he's been all over the place so far this game. He seems kind of like their fulcrum main handler throughout a lot of their sets. And that was a 80-yard throw in stride. So you won't see that very often at any level. And that was really impressive. And I think a big moment in the game as well. The Sabers had worked all the way up in the end zone, get a D, immediately score, just one throw. It's a bit demoralizing probably for the Sabers to have worked it so far and not be able to cash in.
Ryan DeGeeter getting a taste of the follow through there. No call on the field though. That goal will stand. 5-3 to Portland. Semis and finals of this YCC division will take place on Monday. So they'll have the fields themselves. All the senior divisions will have finished up by then.
Yeah, there's the mixed and men's US Open semis are this evening, and the women's semis are tomorrow, and then all of the finals follow after that as the YCC tournament continues today, tomorrow, and culminates on Monday. I think it's a great opportunity for the YCC players to watch the adult division. I think they get a good chance to learn a fair amount and get exposed to some really good ultimate. Not that they aren't also playing great ultimate.
Yeah, and a good opportunity for the likes of yourselves to learn a thing or two from them, I think, you know?
Absolutely.
Goes both ways. Zion, Lighty, hitting DeGeeter. Turnover, short field. Shot to the end zone. Good field awareness. Reels that one in for another break. Leading now 6-3. Some great upwind play. Heidi Meyer with the goal.
And one thing I really liked about that that defensive possession, there's always this urge to pick up the disc and go immediately. Now, if you have a cutter streaking deep, it's a great decision. But sometimes when players do it, they get stranded. There, the handlers saw there was nothing immediately developing, took the time, got the offense set, and they were able to run that really nice string continuing down the fourth side. So that was just really good patience and awareness of the field.
You got to think Rising Tide are the favorites coming into this game purely for the reason this is their 6th time coming to YCC, the first time for Columbus. And there's going to be a few players on this roster where it's not their first rodeo, they're not first showing at such a high caliber event. And even for the coaches as well, you know, you learn a lot as time goes on how to coach a youth team like this and how to get the most out of your players. And as you said, you have the evening off now, semi-finals coming tomorrow. What are you doing in preparation for that semi-final? Is there ice baths? What's your kind of schedule now leading into it?
Well, there's no science that proves ice baths actually do anything, and they're miserable. So I will not be partaking in that. For now, it's mostly everyone else but me has gone back to the hotel to shower and kind of get ready for the game tomorrow. And then we'll be coming back and, assuming the weather holds up, watching some of the men's and mixed semis cheering on. In general, it's kind of just treating it like any other game, though. I think when you play really good teams, it's very easy to overthink it, right? Get really stressed, overthink, hype up this game, and then you show up and a point or two doesn't go your way, and you just are like, what am I doing? But if you just kind of go in and say, we're catching and throws, that's all we need to do this game, and we'll be okay, then I think that's, at least in my opinion, a very good way to approach it. So that's our general game plan, is just to treat it like any other game and go in and see if we can catch and throw better than they do.
Okay, so no ice bath this evening anyway.
No ice bath this evening, not for me.
I have to say I'm a fan of going in the ocean after games as a kind of a rehabilitation thing. For me it works, maybe it's just a mental thing, but I find the cold water, perhaps the salt, the waves, just a way of relaxing my body mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of the ice bath. Now, the ocean in Ireland, very similar to an ice bath.
Absolutely. Yeah, anything, you know, that is placebo and you believe will work, then that's doing something at least. But yeah, so what do you think the Columbus Sabers are thinking right now, being down 6-3, trying to go upwind on offense, as a brand new team? I don't know. What do you think their coaches were saying in that timeout huddle?
I think they need to be more dynamic with their cutting. It's a bit delayed with the timing of their cutting. People not maybe creating space as much as they should, or setting up that second cut as well. So this is probably a big moment for them. I doubt many of these players have been streamed before. And a D inside their own end zone.
And near Callahan, actually.
Yeah, very close to Callahan. But just happy to swipe it away and now try and bang it in. Oh, that was a risky pass. Ben Payson.
Ben Payson, who not sure how he's able to see with all that hair, though.
Hey, you got to look good to play good, and I'm enjoying those locks. He now tries to make a defensive play, caught in the wrong position, can't get around the taller Michael Kopacek. Now shoots one to the end zone. Oh, and almost a goal, bobbled out of the breadbasket. Addison Hartman.
I believe that's what we would call an intimidee there. Doesn't actually get a piece of it, puts enough pressure on, makes the receiver think twice, and it's hard to keep your concentration that whole way through. So great defensive pressure, though, by Rising Tide.
Cole Moore picks it up. Laser of a flick towards the break side. Sailing out of bounds, though. But it has some spin on that one. I liked his form of throw and release point, but just a little too much edge on the throw.
Could have even been a bit of a field position type throw right there. Looked like getting 50 yards on the corner.
Sabers now high swing. That's where Kopacek wants it. He's going to come down with a lot of those. And Tuvan sends one himself, frustrated with the execution of that throw.
Yeah, and just not on the same page as the receiver there, it looked like. Thought the receiver was going out and they decided to come in. Probably for a new team, that happens quite often.
Now shooting upfield. Sarah Nupp can't get there. Better field position now for the Sabers. Another shot to the end zone. This one is more accurate from man-to-man. Great bravery to take it on for the second time. And that is a beautiful goal from Braden.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge point in this game, right? If Rising Tide had been able to convert on this downwind D point, go up 7-3, like it could feel, at least to the Sabers, like this game may be mostly over. Not that it would be, but it could be very demoralizing. But there, they took the timeout. Were able to go ahead and score, and now they have they have the game much closer at 6-4. So, and now they get this downwind D point, which is, I think, like the coveted position most teams want to be in. Downwind D is like the ideal, I would say.
Yeah, an important upwind goal.
And we'll see if they can now set that zone defense they've been running some earlier this game, as the wind's picking up again a little bit more. See if they can put some real pressure on them in the end zone.
What did your man say?
I have no idea.
What's the name of that photographer? I should know.
All right, and looks like the Sabers are about to pull here downwind. Seem to be looking a lot more at each other than the other team, so I would say this is a good chance they're coming down in a zone.
Yeah, you have the two big twins on the line. Ben Kelly with the pull. This one quite low, but a little bit edge on it. Will be centered to Calvin. Clater. Oh, almost blocked in the force by the three big male players in that cup. Eventually getting around them now. You can see this is a tactic by putting the two 6'4" players in the cup, trying to get a hand block, put a lot of pressure around. Shorter players, backfield. Now they're the other side of the zone. This one going up high. Let's see if they can make a bid. Oh, and great awareness. Not in the end zone yet, though. Hayes. Oh, and they get the turn after being on their own goal line. Sending a flick. That is a very hopeful throw, but it is caught. Great pace and vision from Zion Lighty. And he's calling a timeout. Lighty, one of the older players on this roster, 19 years old. Going to Ohio University, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be a creative writing major. So it's always interesting to hear what kinds of things the players do outside of Ultimate as well. They all have whole other lives.
Let's see if he can come up with something creative now as he comes in off the timeout. Let's see if this game of rock, paper, scissors will continue. Not yet.
Yeah, and that was a very interesting zone look they had, because they had their three tallest players in the cup, their three females who were not as tall playing in like the middle wall, and then they had their shortest male player as the deep, which typically you would think you would have your tallest player, or at least your best person in the air deep there. But it seemed to work out pretty well for them, having a lot of pressure on the mark, and their middle wall did a great job of getting a lot of the crashers. And even though there was that bailout throw that was caught in the end, just the pressure, I think, throughout the entirety of the point was how they got that D right outside the end zone.
So in their coveted position now, Lighty will bring this one in. That's something unusual for me to see, you know, just the 7 people on the line huddling up and then everyone else huddling with the opposition. Not something I've done before. Usually you want the sideline hearing the tactics as well so they can maybe help or get involved. Looks like a pretty straightforward vert stack here. Setting up the pop pass, which did not go to plan. Very well read by Tide. Now a big crossfield flick into space, nice catch. As Ben Jewett jacking one deep to their tallest player, and that is a beautiful goal. Isaac Wild getting on the score sheet.
At 6'7", yeah, that's a nice receiver to hit deep. But it seemed like Ben Jewett was a bit of the MVP of that point, I would say, for Rising Tide. He got the really clutch D there on that floaty throw, took off deep and did a great job of then converting that into a big under 15 yards and was able to put up that nice lofty throw to their big man receiver who, I don't know. I would enjoy throwing upwind to someone who's 6'7", I could definitely say. So that was a great point by him.
Yeah, Ben Jewett, usually a Buddha player, a team I covered earlier today, but deciding he wanted to play with the main team because they're sending a mixed roster. Buddha not sending any mixed teams, obviously favors that division. So made the journey up from Massachusetts to play with the main team in Blaine. Maine and Blaine.
Yeah, the mixed division is fun for not only just getting to play with different people, but I think it's also great for these new players coming in, right? Like Columbus finally able to get their first team ever, and it was the mixed division, which makes a lot of sense because they might not have enough men or women to field teams for both. So it's really cool that they were able to field a team in general, and mixed is a good avenue, I think, into starting.
Yeah, I like the idea of mixed in this under 20s division. Gets, you know, both genders working together, all treated as equals on the field.
Yeah, and both teams have been using everyone on their teams, both male and female players having large roles, both throwing and receiving. We saw Emily Posey as a 15-year-old pulling upwind for a mixed team. How often do you see that? It's just great the amount of trust they have in all the players on the roster.
This is a nice pull, lands in the back of the end zone, center to the middle. Now a big flick goes up. This one looks on the money, well gathered. And shot straight away. This one, oh, 2 beautiful shots to the end zone. She's not in just yet. She's gonna have to bring it to the front line now. Shoots in a great upwind offense from the Sabers. No fear, jacking into that wind.
Yeah, and that was a big hold there, going upwind for your offense, making sure that half has not come into effect yet. Just really big moment in this game, I would say, for the Columbus Sabers. And even though they're a relatively young team, they're not giving up here. Every time Rising Tide tries to give a knockout punch in this first half, it seems like the Sabers are just coming back and making sure that they're still in this game and that they're putting up some really good plays.
Carrie Kopacek, the 16-year-old, finishing off that great offensive point from the Sabers, starting all the way in their own end zone. Took about 3 passes to make it to the other side of the field. Very aggressive throwing. That's what you want to see, especially going upwind, no fear. Kopacek high-fiving with her sibling there, Michael.
Yeah, we'll see if Columbus could be one of the first teams to cash in on this downwind D here. Hoping for another big pull. The pulls, I think, have been very good this game. A very good job of getting it into the end zone and a lot of times even pinning them in the corner. Very impressive pulling so far. Hope I didn't jinx him, though.
Tide now with the disc. Coming with their horizontal stack. Good continuation cuts deep shot is there. That one hit just short of the end zone. A great play and an answer back as well. Two beautiful offensive holes. Both teams taking maybe 10-15 seconds or so to march the whole way up the field. Some really tight offense to answer back to the Sabers. Tide showing they can do it as well. They're not afraid to hit those upwinds. And what I like there is they're not jacking it full strength. They're maybe hitting shorter hooks, almost like leading passes, keeping a lot of space deep so no one can poach.
Yeah, and that's a great job by the cutters to make sure they start very close to their thrower so that they can get those nice little touch passes, chip shots.
So that is halftime. Portland in the lead, 8-5. Those few extra breaks proving dividend, but Sabers staying in touching distance. So Sarah, any highlights in that first half for yourself?
I think a lot of the highlights were just how good those upwind throws were. Just the amount of power they were able to get going upwind and how far they were able to throw. Both teams just really able to go upwind on offense and just play really smooth offense, I think was my big just overall highlight. Some of the play highlights, I would say the 80-yard downwind backhand in stride might have been my player highlight, though, personally. What about you?
I think just seeing Emily Posey dominate the game like she did. A couple of goals, assists, real standout player. The two brothers on Saber as well, Jake Kelly and Ben Kelly, two rising stars. Also other siblings on the field, Kerry Kopacek getting a nice goal there. Michael heavily involved and well, and just great spirit from the teams, you know. Again, not playing with observers, but there's been no long discussions. Lots of highlight plays in this mixed division game in YCC. Highlights all around and plenty more action to come in the second half, so stay tuned for more.
boot assign people to talk. Okay, Evan.
Yeah.
You're on Jack.
Not Cole. Okay.
Bender, you're on Cole. Matthew.
Give me somebody else.
You're on Bean.
I'm on B.
I'm on Carter.
Welcome back to the US Open 2018. We're here at the YCC Under 20 Mixed Division. Rising Tide out of Portland, Maine in the lead against the Columbus Sabers. Been a really great game so far, lots of great plays. Not much between the two teams, but Tide have this early lead going into the second half. Liam Grant alongside Sarah Lord. And yeah, it's been a really impressive game, Sarah.
Absolutely, yeah. Both teams have shown they can score upwind. Both teams have shown they can also have patience and score downwind. It's been very back and forth. I know 8-5 with Portland starting off on D feels a little bit like they're in down, creating a big window. Good clean end zone offense. One throw after the turn. That's about as good as you can hope for.
So I got to spend some time with the AO All-Star Tour this week. Also would have played G guys, but I got some braids done. My hair isn't that long, but I managed to get some little braids. Not as impressive as the ginger hairstyle here, but comparable. Shout out to all my ginger brethren out there, killing on the ultimate field. Represent.
Yeah, I think she's the only ginger on the ultimate field, but a very good one nonetheless.
Get me out there. But yeah, how was the AO All-Star experience for you?
Personally, a little stressful. I was the DC point person, so it was one of those worked all day and did all the planning, and then showed up to the game. Was like, oh man, now we actually get to play frisbee. But it's really impressive to me just how much ultimate is spread, and it was very interesting watching all of the players on the AO team play together, because you had like the Japanese players who have their super trademark system with the small throws and little windows, only crossfield hucks type scenario, and then you had a bunch like the Australian players who were like tall, big receivers looking to play like big open space ultimate like we typically see in the US. So it was a really cool experience to see all those playing styles mesh together.
Avery Gleason. Trying to get an open side cut. Now looking for the reset. Back to help him out is Stephanie Kramer. Oh, and this now again a short field for Tide. Can they extend the lead to 5, and they shoot straight away, and it just bobbles over the head.
It's fortunate for Columbus here. 10-5 is rough to come back from, so now they have a chance to score this downwind 0 point and keep grinding in this game.
Yeah, Tide perhaps rushed that one just a bit, but they'll get a second go of this one. Looks like now they're going to set up their end zone offense, take a breath before jacking it in there.
Looks like there was some sort of foul call on the field that looks as though it's going to be contested. I think they seem to disagree on what happened. Yeah, and here the observer's acting kind of as an advisor. It looks like she's explaining the rules somewhat and how that would work out. And it looks like it's just going to go back as a contested foul. So another chance here for the Sabres team to punch in this this downwind O. I see the Sabres coach on the sideline motioning to put the disc far away from this end zone and huck it. So we'll see if they listen.
Brad Yeagers with the disc, goes for the reset. Feels like someone's going to jack it eventually.
This might be the time right here. No?
Brad in the power position. Instead with the reset, playing patient around their own end zone. Going down, and now the disc is thrown. Oh, and a great read from Ben Payson. Looked like he got it first, but maybe it's going to be called that the offense caught it at the same time as well. Looked like Payson might have caught it first. Lighty has been great going deep as well.
And again, that was a very nice throw, though. Good job waiting. Good job putting a lot of touch up in the air, and nice read by both the receiver and the defender, though. So we'll see how the observer helps them figure out what happened. Let's see if we can replay here. Oh yeah, it looks. We have the nice nice advantage of seeing that again in slow motion, but it does look like the Rising Tide player might have gotten there first.
Yeah, looks like this one's going to go back though. Definitely got up earlier. Looks like he got a hand to it earlier. Had a better position to just attack it earlier. Makes sense that he caught it first, but kind of an awkward angle for both players to see who caught it first. So we'll go back.
Absolutely, and it's always a good spirit to see. You know, they're not sure exactly what happened. Send the disc back, do it again, make sure we know what's going on.
The barrel roll, the key possession, but eventually Payson's definitely caught that one first. Now a shot to the end zone. Oh, and a great goal. The quick counter attack from the Tide pays off this time. They're now 5 points ahead thanks to that break they just scored. Anna Briley chasing that one down.
And you can see a bit this is what good experienced teams tend to do, right? The first half there could be some punches thrown either way, and then here Rising Tide seems to really be asserting themselves a lot more here in the second half. They look like they have the experience, having been here before, knowing how to make adjustments during halftime, and I think that's a lot of where this experience really comes into play. But again, this is Sabres' first year, so it's not only good for this year, but I think it's just great for the Columbus area in general and for continuing to have players who have YCC experience in the future. So we'll see if the Sabres can stop the bleeding a little bit here and get this upwind hold and maybe cash that in for a downwind break.
Other exciting stuff happening at the tournament today. I believe there's a gumball later on at 5:30.
Oh yeah?
To get female identifying players together as a little fun event. If you have a player pass, I believe you are given access to that event as well. I'm sure you can find out more online about the gumball. But now Rising Tide coming out on defense, looking to get another break to boot. Going for the flat backhand pull. This one may sail out the side.
And that's one of the first out-of-bound pulls I believe we've seen this game, which is pretty surprising in this wind. It's pretty easy to have it catch and go all the way out. So we'll see if the Sabres could take advantage here, getting to start at the brick.
Looks like a horizontal stack here. We have Jonah Bode, who's also on his high school chess team. Supposedly going to Case Westchester after this because of their stellar chess team. But struggling to get their tactics right here. Sabres against this really strong Rising Tide team out of Maine.
The wind has really picked up in the past minute or so. It is now gusting at least 15, 20 miles an hour, it feels like. But you wouldn't know it watching these teams play.
Barham shoots the end zone and could have been another goal.
Yeah, well-timed cut there by Maggie Pierce, but not quite able to finish it off. Very, very impressive throws, though, in this gusting wind.
And they gift it right back to the Tide, who are rising in confidence right now. Barham looking to change the angle of attack, and that throw just a little behind the receiver. And there we see another big flick hook.
It's a great roll, though.
And Tuvan not afraid to send it.
Yeah, we'll see if Sabres got a little bit of field position there, see if they'll be able to keep the disc down here on the Tide and convert this. It was originally offensive point for them.
Clater gets the reset. Oh, and a dirty foot block. Chance to get the upwind goal. Nice upline cut, very low to the ground. Still alive though, the disc now bops it straight in. Easy goal all coming from that fantastic foot block from Jonah Bode.
Yeah, and a great dig out of the ground there from Jacob Antuvan, as well as the nice job of faking hard to the foresight and getting that around flick. Round backhand. But yeah, that was exactly what they needed there by the Sabers. I think it was a little bit set up by that deep shot that didn't work out, but gave them better field position. Much easier for them to work about 20 yards in this really gusty wind as opposed to the full 70.
Team staying well hydrated. Again, not exactly roasting conditions here in Blaine, Minnesota, but a lot of hard work going out there on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And as this wind picks up, this is a big opportunity probably for the Sabers to cash in on that upwind hold and keep the disc down on this side of the field, hopefully, for them at least. Get this game a little closer.
Yeah, time is ticking away and they have a lot of breaks to get back. Also, the Tide not too far away from the point cap, which is 15.
And given the fact that the Sabers are talking only to each other, not looking downfield, talking their sideline, I believe they'll be coming down in a zone look again here. See if they try that similar 3-3-1 that they had earlier, which was pretty effective for them.
Yeah, and again, they had some of their taller male players, notably Ben Kelly and Jay Kelly in the front of that zone. Looks like Ben might be in there again.
Looks like they pulled out the back. Well, it landed in and rolled out the back.
So Ben Kelly will stay in the front of the zone, but this time Jay Kelly going to the very back. So a little brotherly bracket going on there.
Yeah, they switched up their look in this scenario where it looks like they have 2 tall male players in the cup, 1 of the female players, and then 2 female players on the wide part, and the Kelly brothers taking off the middle and the deep.
Yeah, 'cause I think last time the zone worked very well, but what happened was Tide just jacked it and didn't really have a very tall, deep. So pulling one of the taller players out of the cup. Now this time they do jack it, but a better height matchup and is there to make the defensive play. So the tactical change worked well for Sabers. A big chance to get a break back here.
The sideline is yelling, "Do it," as he holds the disc. And yeah, now they flipped the field again, and they're going to see if the Portland Rising Tide can make it the full 70. Last time their zone was able to stifle them for most of the field.
Yeah, great work in the front of that cup. I believe it's Kieran Bode for the Sabres. Somebody wearing the 15 jersey anyway. Again, a brotherly combination. Kelly's combining. Now a shot to the end zone. Oh, and looks like he caught it, but maybe just slipped out of his hands as he landed.
Yeah, as this wind is really picking up here and making it harder.
Posey. Again, trying to work through this cup. Oh, dissects the middle of it exceptionally well. Nice leading pass to gain some yards. 2 players free in the end zone. That's going to be a great goal by Maggie Pierce, her first of the game. Another great point from Tide. And again, that zone was effective, but they weren't able to capitalize.
Yeah, one narrative I I noticed throughout that point was that the Sabers going downwind this point, feeling like they really need this for the game, a lot of their male players were just only trusting each other. They weren't really using their female players much at all in this direction. In fact, I heard a coach here on the sideline, throw it to the girls, they're open. And then coming back in this direction, Portland Rising Tide, their female players were very involved throughout. Posey was doing a great job in the cup handling, and Maggie Pierce scored the goal at the end. So it's just in this mixed division, it's a lot about making sure that you use all 7 players in the field at all times.
Yeah, because it's obvious that occasionally the Sabres players are open. It's not like they're not getting free. If you thought maybe there's a big disparity in talent that they're not able to get free, they definitely are getting free. And maybe, I don't know, maybe used to playing in the men's division or boys division that they're not that used to it, but they're missing out on some good opportunities there and possibly would have been able to score that break.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so we'll see if they make any adjustments here. We'll see if they start using their female players a little bit more, trusting all 7 players in the line, and we'll see how the Rising Tide do here if they continue to use all 7 players and be effective that way. And
the girls doing a great job in the zone, in the wings. Everyone in the zone, in fact, doing a great job to get those turns, generate turnovers. But yeah, the offense is not clicking in that last point. Allowed Rising Tide to maintain their offensive lead. Coming out on defense now. Again, these are some fantastic pulls from these young players. And when it comes in so hot and bladed like that, you almost have to leave it, roll out the back.
Oh, wow. And she, I don't think she realized she could have taken that up to the front since it rolled out the side there at the end zone.
Yeah, it could have been costly for Lewis, and that is the Callahan. Coming from that big pull. Lewis, unfortunately, didn't realize she could have walked it up, and it's costing them quite a lot. Big moment in the game. Fantastic. Adam Ray hasn't been involved too much, but gets the Callahan.
Yeah, he did a great job of reading where that disc was going, making a nice snag there, and looked down at his feet and was like, wait, I'm already in the end zone.
And that was a wobbly, blady throw, and just kind of casually threw out a right hand, caught it. Took him maybe a second to realize he just scored a Callahan, and he's on the live stream, so you got to celebrate that one.
And they're all talking about just how casual he was with catching that. So, but yeah, that's I think all game both teams have been hoping, if we get these really deep pulls, run down on the pull, set up a hard defense, maybe we can get a Callahan, get something like that. So I think that's been like a big point of emphasis for both teams all game, you can tell, and it paid off this time for the Rising Tide. They're able to cash in on that great pull.
Looks like a timeout being called by the Sabre coaching staff.
Yeah, because this half started 8-5 with Columbus on offense, and now it's 12-6. So they've fallen behind a little bit the second half. Have been having a little more trouble converting on some similar looks they were taking in the first half, and seems like a good time for them to just be able to call a timeout and talk a little bit about what's going on. And we're getting a look here at some of the pools within this U20 mixed division. 16 teams this year. That's a good number. A lot of good teams. My personal favorite is DC Swing Vote. Playing my homer status here. Swing Vote won championships a couple years ago, 2 years in a row. They won, I believe I want to say 15 and 16. As they really loaded up their mixed division with all the best players from DC. Many players off now, making big names for themselves in other avenues. And now a lot of the top talent is shifted back into the single gender divisions. And DC Rogue was able to cash that into the first ever loss by a youth Seattle women's team in the history of the tournament last season.
No way.
So yeah, it was a great game. Definitely lost my voice cheering for those girls. They're fantastic.
Yeah, also in this pool you have Madison and Equinox. We have the second and third seed going up against each other here in their pool.
That was a great pull there going upwind. The amount of hang time was very impressive.
Ethan Wright, again, mostly running through their male players. I see 3 male handlers back. And there's Hartman in possession.
We'll see, it kind of looks like these, they want a deep look here, and here it comes.
And that one might just sail a little too far. Looking a little tired perhaps, Ethan Wright. Trying to grind out the unders, but just can't get free.
Yeah, it looked like that was a little bit of frustration, I think, going on here for the Sabers. You know, a bit of a, you just need to win in this throw type throw, and a bit of a run down, just looking a little bit exhausted. We'll see if they can keep the disc here, and but well defended there by the Sabers.
Bode tries a lofty crossfield flick. Again, to no one. Bit of huck and hope here from the Sabres O-line.
Yeah, that tends to be what happens as the game wears on and you get a little more tired. A lot of these players have been crossing back and forth to both lines. Not quite as much depth probably sometimes in this youth division. So these players are getting a little bit tired.
Alex Roll picks it up and finds Anna Briley, who throws a lofty one up. That one's going to be dangerous. Can't be picked up by anyone.
Okay, work it, yes. Throw it to the system. Oh my God. Do it.
Nice undercut from Sterling Gleason. Sabres with a chance to throw it in the end zone. Oh, and they end up turning it over. There was a free option straight away, but maybe try to be a little too patient.
Yeah, maybe try to be a little patient. Maybe wasn't using the girls quite as much at that point again. But a great upwind huck here.
Tries to milk it in, not in yet. Well supported by Briley, who's got another goal to her name. Great support play there. We saw Adam Ray, who got the Callan earlier, streaking deep, try to jump it into bounds, but a few yards short, and the person playing heads up, supporting the team, expecting it to not be in bounds, is Anna Briley, who gets another goal. That's the kind of play you want from your teammates. Follow up the play. You know, even if it does land in bounds, you're going to be up there anyway, so you might as well run down there now.
Yeah, and it's also great just as far as with this win, sometimes the disc can really carry. So, you know, she did a great job of coming in and giving them an option for the goal, but also sometimes these discs are really carrying to that far sideline. So great job of being ready for that just in case. We call that wolf packing everything. As soon as the disc is up, doesn't matter if you're on offense or defense, everyone has a shot at it. If you just watch it, you get in trouble. So that was a great job.
Yeah, because you never know what could happen. It could be macked up into the air again, or bobbled by someone, or you just need to cover someone on defense or offense, or you get that pop pass like it is. And that's just energy and commitment got to that goal. Not too much faking or shaking, just having the awareness to follow up the play. Got Briley a nice easy goal.
And again, we see Emily Posey, 15-year-old, pulling again for this Rising Tide team.
And she really carries herself like a veteran on the field, you know. Not afraid to take charge, lead this team from the front. Beautiful pull.
And I would say that's one of the best pulls of the game. A lot of hang time in the end zone, but not rolling out of the end zone.
Can safely say her pulls are better than mine.
Mine as well.
Kramer with the disc. Now a 4-person cup
Yeah, Emily, you're good.
from Tide.
Good.
Tries it over the top, probably the good option. And this hammer is caught. Now another dangerous throw. Tries to go over Isaac Wild. It does work, but no receiver behind him. And that is a great deep to have in the form of Isaiah Wild, who's going to pick up this disc.
And sometimes deeps can get Ds without even necessarily touching it, just by a 6'7" player being there. You just throw it differently.
And Wild launches that one. That's very zippy. Too much speed on that throw going downwind. You could see Heidi Mayer had a lot of separation.
Yeah, but that it was to a good space and good idea, I think. Just you always have to wait a couple more seconds than you think you do in this wind.
Dangerous crossfield swing, but it's going to work out. Hard place to be in the front corner with that 4-person cup on you. And again, another big crossfield swing, not gaining huge amount of yards. Now they come as they got around the cup, throwing it to space here. Keeping momentum going. Again, looking off the deep shot, they see the 6'7" Wild minding the house, but this time they throw it straight to him.
Very casual D there.
Oh, deep shot coming. Look at the pace, but great defensive awareness from Jake Kelly. Don't know if there's a call in the field. Looks like nothing's being called. Let's see if they set up their 4-person cup again. Again, a very difficult spot to be in. Oh, and a good throw through the middle. It's not caught, but very difficult to throw through a 4-person cup like that.
Yeah, the Sabers have been very good at picking apart this cup, finding the holes, breaking right through them. Given especially how much wind they're facing, it's been some very impressive offense, I think. Haven't fully cashed in on it yet, but they've been getting a lot of good movement. Then the goal for Emily Posey. She's just been so involved all game. It's unsurprising to see her getting some more stats there.
Yeah, eligible for the under-17 division, but possibly a little too good down there. She would have been wrecking it for sure.
Yeah, she's been dominant in the U20 division, so interesting to see her in that division. But
maybe send her a tryout form for a DC Scandal next year.
All right, yeah, need any summer internships, you know, for high school. Come on up here. Yeah, we've actually had 2 YCC players, one each of the past years, play for Scandal while they're still on the U20 team before they even go to college, with Ella Junks last year and Caroline Tornquist this year. So a lot of these young players are able to go make elite teams and get good experience and bring a lot to those teams. So it's fun to see. So this is going to be game point here for Rising Tide, it looks like. Going up 14-6. They've really just taken command of the second half.
Yeah, I think that is a 6-1 run since halftime.
Yeah, 6-1, and almost all of them breaks, especially since the Sabres started off on offense to begin this half as well.
Hey, no, it's not fair. I have to cover him more than he has to cover.
And Tide very much enjoying themselves here in Blaine, Minnesota. Liam Grant alongside Sarah Lord in this under-20s mixed division game in the group stages. Still a lot to play for. Finals not until Monday. You gonna be sticking around Monday, Sarah, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around, probably do some more commentary, watch some more youth division games. It's a really fun opportunity to get to watch a lot of the young rising stars in the division, and luckily get the opportunity to talk about them a little bit. And so yeah, no, I'm excited. Are you gonna be here through Monday?
I'm not.
You're not?
I'm here for a little bit of Monday, but then I have to head home to Ireland.
Oh yeah, officially going back to Ireland after your
Yeah.
month on the road commentating.
That's it, a solid month of non-stop talking. Back to sideways rain and crooked teeth. Excited to have a few spuds at home. But yeah, it's been an enjoyable month. Deep shot straight away here. And a great defensive play. That one a little too telegraphed. Jack Gustafsson able to clean this one up. So now tied with a chance to break for the win.
It's always much more satisfying to win on defense, so I'm sure they're trying to do that. And both these teams, it's probably a lot about momentum going in the rest of the weekend, right? Columbus wants to score a couple more, get a little more confidence. Portland really wants to prove that they're a team to be reckoned with later on in the bracket.
You can dump it. You can dump it. I can go.
And a big crossfield hammer almost worked out. A bit of a crazy pass.
Yeah, I could hear the coach yelling, "You can dump it," as the hammer went up. So yeah, a bit of a risky throw there, but again, field position, you know, keeping the distance in the downwind end zone line, seeing if they can go the full 70.
Can dump it and will dump it are very different things.
Absolutely.
But now a much shorter field. Trying that crossfield flick. Oh, not sure that was the intended target, but a great effort nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great bid there by
I believe that is Kerry Kopacek. Nice inside pass. Setting up the power position, but that one a little too blady.
And we will see here if another huck is put up or if the Sabres try and run a little more system here. Oh, it looks like actually there is a call on the field, a call on the throw, foul.
Yeah, I was thinking that one didn't come out exactly as he would have hoped, so he might get another shot at this. An easy open side under pass, fumbled but caught. Roll, dishes it off. Oh, and getting into trouble here on the sideline. Looks like they landed out of bounds there.
Yeah, that was great concentration to catch the disc again after the initial bobble, but not quite in bounds. And yeah, Bode is picking up again. He's taken quite a few shots so far these past couple of points. So we'll see if we'll see what they come up with here on this downwind point here.
A lot of switching in the stack from tied downfield. One player poaching the open side, another poaching the break. Eventually, some good grind on the open side from Hartman. Tries the shot to the end zone, bobbles up in the air. Looks like this one is caught. Don't know who will get the assist for that. And it was actually Bode who finds himself in the end zone.
Yeah, and the Sabres were able to hold for one of the first times this half. I know that this game is likely over for them at this point, being down 14-7, but it's still got to feel good, right? To get another hold this half, get another opportunity to play a little more ultimate, get a little more better, get a little bit more chemistry with your teammates here.
Yeah, and just for your positivity, you know, something to celebrate. They've conceded a few in a row, so now something to shout about, getting close to the soft cap, but that will not come into play here. It will be game to 15.
And yeah, we have the Rising Tide putting out their traditional O-line here, going downwind on offense. I feel like at this point for Rising Tide, they're probably saying, let's see if we can just grind out a really clean O-point, no turns, use everyone on the field, get some good momentum, finishing up this game. So, and the Sabres are keeping a lot of the same players in the field from that last long point. keeping the tall Kelly twins out there as well as Bode. They've been running a pretty tight rotation so far this game, it seems.
Yeah, maybe a smaller roster than the Tide team. Yeah, I'd like to see Rising Tide really hold possession of this Saber at the moment and finish off this one on their first offensive game point. Again, we see that flick pull.
With a good amount of distance in this up one direction.
Posey to Thompson. Clater. And it's that zone look again. This time, 2 females in the cup. Will they get around it? Matt Smith-Herb to Clater. Some very quick singing. Posey takes on the shot. I don't know if that was a great option. Let's see if it works out. Oh, and some good position being held by Jay Kelly. I don't think that was the right shot.
No, I don't think so. A lot of times when you have a patient point for a while, you're like, oh, I just want to score already in this game. And it seems like one of those kinds of throws. But we'll see if the Sabres can take advantage here and extend this game a little longer.
Looking to get their first break of the second half.
Continuing to grind those unders on the force side. We'll see if they end up trying to stretch deep pretty soon. That's been a big part of their game plan so far today.
DeGeeter with the disc. Oh, a little too high. Oh, and missed on the second attempt by Kelly as well.
Looks like they're going to get their zone set back up again. So we'll see how effective they can be here.
Dangerous flick over it, but gets there eventually. Coaches on the sideline saying throw fakes, try and move the cup around.
So the wind is really gusty now all of a sudden. And that's a great breakthrough there by who else but Emily Posey.
Yeah, difficult window to throw to. Now the crossfield throw is on, and it's a great catch and goal. And that is the game winner for Jack Gustafsson. Fantastic game from him and the Rising Tide team all around. Sabres hung in there till halftime, but just the experience and strength of this Portland team, too much for them.
Yeah, the Portland Rising Tide, I think, really showed that they're going to be a team to watch out for this weekend. And I think the Sabres, they got a lot of good experience playing in the wind, playing against an experienced team. And yeah, I think they're both going to have some pretty good weekends after this.
Plenty more Youth Ultimate to come tomorrow. Be sure to check out that. Also, some semis and finals in the other divisions to check out. But we've had a fantastic game here. Liam Grant alongside Sarah Lord. We'll see you tomorrow.